It's another episode of the Brett Allen Show, a pop culture podcast. And today I'm kind of sad. We're wrapping up our interviews for this amazing film, A Shot Through the Wall. We are chatting again with another one of the stars from this amazing movie, Lynn Chen. You know who she is. She's been a part of so many other amazing projects. And we're going to cover a lot today, but we're excited. Lynn, welcome into the show. It's great to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Well, again, this movie, we've seen it. We've had the opportunity to watch it over here at the show, and we've interviewed many of your cast members. So I'm excited to chat with you and talk about your perspective and sort of this whole idea that has been put out there for people to watch. Very thoughtful, addressing a lot of topics that are very relevant for today, many things. Let's talk about your experience. You play a very major role in this film, and how did this project come about for you, and how did you get involved?
So it was via an audition, pretty typical for most actors and projects. I knew nothing about it. I didn't know Amy, but I remember reading the sides, the audition sides, and thinking, oh, this is interesting. And then I read the script, and I remember thinking at the time, this was about 5 years ago. I remember thinking at the time, like, wow, this feels important and heavy and scary to
Yeah.
me, um, because it talks about race in a way that is so layered and nuanced that it isn't just black or white, pun intended. You know, it's very gray, and
Yes.
I didn't know how I felt about that, about being part of something that um, pushed the envelope or pushed buttons in that way. I was a little scared to rock the boat. Um, but when I got the part, and Amy and I had very long discussions about her POV, why she was making the movie. It just became abundantly clear I had to be a part of it. And also Ty Ma, who plays my dad in it, he had played my dad before, and I already felt so safe with him. So I was like, let's do this. Let's go make a movie in New York City.
Yeah, we had Ty on yesterday, and he was a lot of fun. We laughed a lot. Yeah, I mean, everybody in this film is just spectacular, and of course, you play his daughter in the film, and it's sort of and everything ensues from there. And I think the common theme in this whole film, and a lot of what people have said, is it is very nuanced and very layered, right? You don't just have the myopic one view of racism or police misconduct or interracial relationships, whatever the case might be. You're dealing with all of this very forward and upfront, but in a way that's honest, right? And yeah, a little gray, no pun intended, about sort of how, things are being addressed and talked about. Um, when you take on a project like this compared to a lot of the other things that you've done, having not worked with Amy before and really kind of doing this as an independent venture, what is your thought process to get into a character like this and sort of go, okay, it's a little bit scary. I know you sort of alluded to it just a minute ago, but I'd like to kind of dive deep further a little bit and sort of get into your mindset as a storyteller and go, this is kind of how I'm going to approach this and really address these topics that are very relevant and prevalent even today, really.
Yeah. I mean, I had to approach it the same way I approach any character I'm playing, which is with a lot of empathy and understanding of where this person's coming from. I remember saying to Amy, I believe that my character is very much into the Black Lives Matter movement. But yet there's no lines in the movie that would reference that, because
Yeah.
really what's happening is she just wants to protect her brother. And in doing so, it may feel like she may not care about the race issue whatsoever. But because the script is written the way it is, because my character is supposed to be who she is, there are moments where I knew that there were layers that I wasn't going to be performing for
Hmm.
anyone, but that existed. And that had to be enough, that had to be enough that I was thinking like, well, some people might think she's a racist. Some people might think all she cares about is her own family, and that's the side they end up seeing. And so if that is the side they end up seeing, then I have to make sure I have a responsibility to make sure that people understand why she's doing that, and
Yeah.
why that's more important to her than anything else.
Yeah, I think that this comes through quite clearly in all of your performances in the film. And really, again, obviously we're setting out to entertain people, but really, I think at the end of the day, allowing the audience to kind of decide and make those decisions, right? When you're putting together something and performing, do you have sort of in the back of your mind what you hope people walk away from, or sort of an expectation? Obviously this is what we're talking about, this film, but like something that you hope the audience will grab onto and maybe be able to, that's tangible, right, versus just kind of outright being entertained.
I think, in general, I learned a long time ago not to have any expectations when it comes to audience reactions, and that I always assume that if half the people love it and half the people hate it, then we've done our job, because it means
Yeah.
that people, that we've created something that really means something, that has struck a chord. Because if it was just something everyone could agree upon, then it's probably not the type of movie we set out to make. So I didn't have any expectations. I just hoped that it would spark conversation. And because these issues that are raised are so personal and so heavy, I just knew that, like, how it affects me is not going to be the same as how it affects somebody who's black, somebody who's a police officer, somebody who has nothing to do with any of this. Like, we're all going to see this in different ways, and if we can all watch the same movie and come out of it feeling like we want to have a conversation, or maybe we're not going to be quiet in a situation where we might have been quiet before, then I feel like that is the purpose of art like this.
Yeah, 100%. Well, you all did just such a great job. And again, I'm hoping that people will really want to see this because it's just a good movie overall. Switching gears a little bit, I'm very curious. You've again been a part of so many great projects. Going through your biography, you've done some really fun things. What was it that interested you, Lynn, in becoming a storyteller? What was it that made you go, this is something that is interesting to me, and this is something I would like to do maybe one day?
I had zero interest in becoming a filmmaker. When we made this movie, it was about a year before I even sat down in front of my computer and started writing my first screenplay. So I really thought that ship had sailed for me. In terms of, like, well, I've spent most of my career doing the acting thing, and to start over from the beginning seemed a little nuts to me. I
Yeah,
never
I
film
can
school or
imagine.
any of that. I never directed a short. So, like, to me, I was just like, who am I to do that? And I think there was a moment where I felt like I was presented with the opportunity to take over a series of the trilogy for a movie I had been in before. And because of that opportunity, I suddenly was thinking more, who am I not to do this? And I think I do have a unique voice, and let's just see what happens. And it was an experiment for me making my movie, I Will Make You Mine. Um, it definitely was a moment for me where I was thinking to myself, this is a new venture, but I didn't think it was going to be like, this is my new venture that will now take me to the next phase of my career. Instead, it was an experiment. And I am happy to say that the experiment went very well, and that I thoroughly enjoy it, and I plan to create more movies. But since making that jump behind the camera, it definitely has changed the way I've approached all work in front of the camera, and how I come to set every single day, how I treat members of the cast and crew. Not that I was horrible to them before, but
No, no, no. I
full
was gonna ask
context
you about
now.
that. I'm teasing. Yeah, no, you go.
But I just feel like, what we get to do is incredible and so difficult to get to do, and to do in general, that I don't take any of it for granted. So definitely, an experience like this, like watching Amy go through this all these years ago, and now up until now finally have it come out, and I think it couldn't be coming out at a better time. Just sort of having like faith in this industry and also in the process of what it means to be a storyteller. It means a lot of pushing, but also a lot of patience and a lot of waiting, and those are difficult things that not everyone is able to stomach at all times.
Yeah. No, I know. You're funny. Not that I was mean to anybody or anything like that. Yeah. No, no,
I was
no.
just nicer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's interesting when you've been a part of some projects. One last question here, sort of ancillary as we wrap up. You've done Grey's Anatomy, you've done other big television shows. You also did Shameless. You had a fun role on that. I mean, you've just really had a lot of chances to jump around and move into things like that. Outside of that, what are some of your experiences been working on these big machines of projects and television shows that have been seemingly running forever, and then you have the honor of coming in and playing a few episodes or several episodes. What is that like as an actor, and your experience, like kind of coming in and really, does it put your chops to the test of really just kind of getting in there and just nailing it from the word go and just making sure that you deliver the best that you can, which you did in all of those things, in my opinion, by the way, for sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
I do think that, every project is different, every set is different. Even when you're working on like a big show, you'll have a different director each time, and sometimes the cast is changing around, and so um, I always feel like each opportunity to act and to be part of like a little film or TV family is such a privilege, and it's something that whenever I'm there, I just try to really be present no matter what it is, even if it's like a first time director and we're working on no budget and no one's going to see this except for maybe like their roommate one day. I don't know. I just love telling stories, and I just love being in front of the camera and getting to play. And that's what I look at it as. It's getting to play. And sometimes you get paid really well to do it and sometimes you don't. And it
Yeah.
just help out.
For the love of the game, as they say. Fantastic. Well, everybody, please be sure go out and stream or watch Shot to the Wall. It's absolutely fantastic. Lynn does a wonderful job in this, and among many other things that she has been a part of. Lynn, thanks for hanging out with us today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Brett.